Marc Berman of the New York Post with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team. He's one of our favorites, knows his stuff. Mark, what's the latest on Carmelo Anthony?
Well, this morning at the shoot-around in Dallas, he did not show up, still back in the hotel trying to get comfortable and is on pain medications. And Fisher said he spoke to him yesterday and still not feeling comfortable. It's when you have severe back spasms, that's the toughest thing, is to be able to sit or lie down or do something to not be in pain. So it's not a good sign. It's all about what these back spasms stem from. I mean, if it's from a disc issue, then we're talking about a chronic situation. But if it's just the normal back spasms from muscles, it's not going to be a season-long issue, probably not. So, but the Knicks are a little worried.
I'm just sitting here as a fan thinking, is there any shot for the Knicks to, A, win a game without Melo, and B, progress this offense and defense without Melo on the court?
Well, the irony of the triangle offense is it was invented to help teams that don't have a lot of talent, and it creates open shots, and it's an equal opportunity offense that doesn't rely usually on a superstar. So maybe they'll get more fundamental and run the triangle even with more precision and with more vigor now that they don't have another player to fall back on in Carmelo. But you still need guys to make shots and make plays and make the right passes. Stoudemire is going to have to be huge during this period. He's still going to come off the bench. J.R. Smith starts versus Dallas tonight in a three-guard alignment. So Smith is actually playing small forward, Shumpert at shooting guard, and Calderon at point guard. But, yeah, it's going to be maybe five guys scoring 13 points or, that's what they're going to need. They need like 5-6 guys in double figures to win a game.
Marc Berman of the New York Post with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team. Mark, through 15 games, Carmelo Anthony signs the massive deal in the offseason. What have you seen from the Knicks superstar thus far?
Earlier in the season, he had a horrible 4-game shooting stretch. I never saw him shoot that poorly for such a long period of time. It lasted 4 games. But since then, he really turned it around. He revealed he was playing with a sore left knee since the very beginning of the season, and maybe that affected his elevation on his jump shot. But he's settled down, and he seems to know when to pick a spot. And even in the game against Houston, when he got injured, he was having a fine outing. Defensively, though, not as good. And I think the sore left knee was bothering him more on defense in terms of his quickness and closing out in rotations, and just not as rugged a rebounder as last season. So, yeah, it's been mixed. But now, you wonder, even when he comes back, if he's back in a week or so, maybe he's going to be a little tentative. And again, the concern that this is going to be an issue that carries on across the season if they resurface.
Marc Berman of the New York Post with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports.
All right, well, I mean, it's not like we're playing a team that's highly motivated with a star center who wants to prove that he was not the problem in New York tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Tyson Chandler really felt bitter that he thought his reputation was besmirched a little bit after the trade with the innuendo that he had created a bad atmosphere in the locker room. Tyson takes pride in his leadership, and yeah, he does get on guys. And on the court, you could see him on occasion will yell at a player who makes a mistake. That's his style, but he's got a championship ring, and he's been one of the great defensive players across the last few years. He earns that right, just like Kobe Bryant does. But it didn't sit well in the locker room last year, probably because he was injured for so many games. And then he came back and I guess got on guys in the locker room. But, yeah, no, he's super motivated. He's having a terrific season. He looks like the Chandler from 2011, the 2010-2011 season that rolled to the NBA championship and ironically knocked out Derek Fisher and Phil Jackson in the second round in an embarrassing sweep.
That knee injury last year with Tyson Chandler last November just changed everything, Mark, didn't it?
Yeah, well, he actually broke his leg. He was playing great. He came back from training camp. There was a lot of disappointment in his Indiana series in the playoffs against Hibbert. He pretty much got dominated by Hibbert, and he came back in great shape, was talking a big game. He was developing a little mid-range jump shot during training camp. And the first 4 games, he was playing, stout. And then he breaks his leg on a freak play. I think Kemba Walker knocked into him on a pick, and he's out until, I believe, January. And when he came back, he just could not regain his form, and the Knicks had already fallen well back in the playoff race. There was already a poisoned environment in the locker room, and Tyson couldn't change it. And then he started to publicly criticize Mike Woodson a little too loudly, in my opinion, about his defensive schemes. But, regardless, Tyson was considered, either the leader or the second leader behind Carmelo, and whatever voice he had was not met kindly by Phil Jackson when he took over, and certainly not by the old coaching staff.
Marc Berman of the New York Post with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team.
Guy who came over in that trade, Jose Calderon, has been back for 2 games now. Can he be that too? Can he be the Robin to Melo's Batman?
Well, that's the whole idea of bringing him in. Phil Jackson obviously trades Chandler, who's probably not a good fit in the triangle anyway, and brings in a guy who, on paper, is perfect for the triangle. He knows he's a smart player, obviously a playmaker his whole career, but the biggest attribute in a triangle for a point guard is not so much penetration, it's shooting the open three-pointer, because if you're running the triangle right and you're passing the ball, the three-point shot should be a wide-open shot for the point guard. And Calderon is a 42% career three-point shooter. Offensively, I have no worries about how he'll fit in. Again, he'll organize the offense better than, obviously, Shane Larkin.
Marc Berman of the New York Post with Armen and Levack. Sorry, Mark, you broke up, but you dropped for about 5 seconds there, so we missed you.
I'm in my hotel room on the 26th floor, and I think, because you're coming in hazy also.
Oh, okay.
Have I been in and out?
No, that was the first time.
Oh.
You've been great. It was just right there. We just lost you for about 5 seconds. You keep going, though. I can edit. It'll sound perfect. Nobody will even know.
All right. Did you hear Villiers say the problem is the defense, or?
No, pick up from there.
Okay. The issue with Calderon is his defense. And, the Knicks have not defended well at all this season, and now Calderon comes back, and he's got to tighten up that perimeter defense, keep opposing point guards out of the lane. He doesn't have great lateral quickness. He's never been known as a defender. So that's really the issue on Calderon. I think offensively he'll fit in great in a triangle. It's whether he can defend better than Raymond Felton defended last season.
Marc Berman of the New York Post on Twitter at @NYPost_Berman. And Mark, I enjoyed your content, your tweets about the Knicks at the SMU facility. I covered SMU basketball for 5 years, and Coach Brown in his first season. How was the run-in with Larry Brown and the Knicks players yesterday? How was that?
Well, I saw him chat with Dallin Bear, who played for him in Philadelphia, and he spoke at length with Derek Fisher and Tim Clemens, one of the assistant coaches. But it was just a little awkward because there were other staff members who don't really appreciate what Larry did in New York for that one horrible season in 2005-06. So it was a little awkward, and, Larry did stay away until the end of practice. He had a game that night against Arkansas, so he was waiting with his players to actually get onto the court for a little pregame shoot-around. And, he introduced some of his players to Fisher, and it went well enough. But we know the history between Larry and the Knicks. And even last season, Larry blasted the organization for hiring Phil Jackson and leaving Mike to twist in the wind, so to speak. Larry and Woodson are very close. Woodson was on Brown's staff on the championship team in Detroit. So Larry and Knicks have a contentious relationship, but it was kind of neat Larry told me, we just chit-chatted, and he said the Knicks called about a week ago, kind of desperate for a court, and he couldn't say no. Larry still gets back to New York. He's got a place in East Hampton, but not as often as he likes. You know, the college scene, it's a year-round coaching and recruiting, and he feels he's got to be in Dallas, most of the year.
Does this surprise you to see Larry Brown at 74 years old, still on the court? He's still got the Larry Brown way, doesn't he? He's still got it.
He really does, and I spoke to some people on campus. He's a walker, and he loves to walk around campus, chat with the kids. In fact, when they're online for the tickets, he'll come out with a box of donuts. He's been re-energized by the college scene again. He had a bad experience in Charlotte after he left the Knicks, and now to be back in college where he had a couple of stints, but short ones, I think he's kind of relishing this as the capper to his career. He's, again, in his mid-70s and still going strong, still looks good. It is surprising, though, because he had health issues in Detroit, and I wondered how long he would last as a coach. But this is everything. Basketball is everything to him, and it's great to see him thriving, and he's done a good job at SMU as well.
Marc Berman of the New York Post with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team.
All right, Mark, what do the Knicks need to do tonight to take down the 10-5 Dallas Mavericks at their home?
I think if they don't get totally embarrassed on national TV, I think that would be a moral victory. You know, you never talk about moral victories, at least I don't. But in this spot, without Carmelo, playing a revved-up Mavericks team who just got humiliated themselves in their prior game, I think if they could just hang close, make it a game into the fourth quarter, I think they'll feel good about themselves and try to steal one in Oklahoma City. This is going to be a very tough assignment for them, and it's an ESPN game, and you know, the possibility of getting really blown out of the building is there. So I think they just want to hang tough, move the ball, play unselfishly, run the triangle, and just keep it close.
Hey, Mark, with the Knicks 4-11 on the start of the year, is this what you expected? I asked the question to the listener yesterday. Look, they're 4-11. Are you really surprised? I mean, they can still make the playoffs. They can still turn it around. 4-11. It's not that big of a surprise that they're at this point this early, right?
No, not at all, especially because they didn't have Calderon for the first 13 games and had Shane Larkin start at point guard, which turned into a little bit of a miscalculation by Derek Fisher. Larkin, instead of getting better with more starts, he actually regressed, seemed to get a little worn down. But I think Knicks fans should be disappointed that they're not better defensively. With Derek Fisher stressing defense from the day one of training camp in West Point, we thought they'd be a better defensive score last year. Instead, even in the Philadelphia victory, they were leaving open shooters all over the place. Philadelphia just missed the shots. So I think defense they have to tighten up. But I think they're getting the hang of the triangle and, you know, ad-libbing a little bit when they have to. But defensively has been a big disappointment.
Marc Berman of the New York Post. Mark, enjoy your time in Dallas and then in Houston. That's where I was born and raised. What hotel they got you at there?
Yeah, well, we're at the Renaissance off the Stemmons Freeway, right 3 minutes from the arena.
Beautiful.
It's a nice area. Dallas, sunny day, probably in the 50s, and I hope to play some tennis with the radio voice of the Knicks, Spino. But Dallas, this Texas trip is always one of my favorites. I enjoy the barbecue and the...
Sorry, you dropped out again. You there?
Yeah, did I drop out?
Yeah, but it was right after barbecue. I can make that smooth. I can make. Well, Mark, it's currently in the 20s here in snowing heavily. So thanks for reminding us that it's sunny in Dallas. Marc Berman of the New York Post. Mark, thanks for your time today, man. I greatly appreciate it. And travel safe over the Thanksgiving weekend. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, sir.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.